Hey everyone, this is a video introduction to Canvas conferences. By the end of this video, you should be able to know how to add Canvas conferences to your course navigation. You should be able to make a conference and initiate it with your students, manage the students within your conference, create breakout rooms, create polls, upload presentations and slides into your conferences, share your screen, and create shared notes for students. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just in my sandbox Canvas course, so make sure as you're following along, you're in the course you'd like to create a conference for. You'll notice that Canvas Conferences shows up in your navigation tool. It's important that you verify in your settings first that students can view Canvas Conferences in their navigation tool. You will know whether or not students can do this if there is a little I symbol with a cross through it. That means students cannot see that option on their menu. To change that, go to the settings in your course. Under the tab called Navigation, you can see anything listed in this top section is visible to students. So for example, I already have conferences visible to my students. If it is not visible, it'll be in this lower section. So in order to change that, just simply click Conferences and drag it up to the top. And now click Save. Students should be able to view your Canvas conferences. Once we go into the conference page, to create a new conference, simply click that plus sign icon, and it's going to give you a few options. You can name your conference whatever you like. Make sure it's specific and clear what the topic is or the purpose of the conference is. There's only one type of conference with your big blue button, so you don't need to change anything there. You can write the duration of the conference, depending on your needs. And you can allow students to record the conference, which I think is a really great feature, especially if students aren't able to log in live with you. They can log in, record, go do something else for another class, and then come back and watch the conference later. You can also make sure there's no time limit if you want to make it a longer running conference, but again, we're trying to stick to about 30 minutes every other day per course. The description will be really important so students know what their learning objectives are for this conference, what exactly the topic of conversation or the instruction that will be provided in the conference, so make sure you're really descriptive in this section. Then you can invite all course members in your tile by clicking this box. If you choose not to invite all course members and only want to invite specific students, you can see that I can unselect invite all course members and then click the checkboxes next to the names of the students that I would like to have included in the conference. But for now, I'm going to invite all course members. And then once you are ready, you'll click the update button, but I'm going to click cancel for now because I've already made a conference that's in progress. And when students log in, they'll be able to click this join button. So you'll instruct students to go to the conference section of their Canvas course and then click join on the correct conference. When you have initiated a conference, it'll take you to this page. So this is me as the conference manager in the chat or in the conference. So how to manage your users within the conference, you can see I have 2 students logged into my conference. I click this gear icon to manage users. If I need to mute all of them, I can choose that option there. I can mute all users except presenter. That would be probably your most likely option because you don't want to mute yourself. You can lock the viewers if you need to. But my favorite feature of managing your users is creating breakout rooms. So let's say you have all of your Canvas course members, so all of your students in the class, they're logged into the conference, but you want to break them out into some small groups. So I can choose the number of digital virtual rooms that I want, up to 8 rooms. I can say how long or how many minutes they're going to be in those rooms for before they return back to the whole conference. So maybe you're giving students a prompt for reflection or discussion, and then you say, okay, now you have 5 minutes to discuss in your groups, and then you can assign these rooms. So you can assign them randomly, or you can click and drag students and make sure that they're in the specific room that you want them to be, or you can simply allow users to choose a breakout room to join. So there's all sorts of options there. You can also formatively assess students using Canvas conferences by creating polls. This little blue plus sign, if you click start a poll, It's not as in-depth as I would like it to be, but what you can do is when you start a poll, you can, it looks like I already made a poll here, and some students have responded. It doesn't allow you to create a written prompt, so like the only reason you would use a poll in conferences is if, hey, Shakespeare wrote Romeo and Juliet, and I wanted a true or false poll. Then I would just verbally say the prompt and then blast out the poll. And then I can publish polling results. And from a student perspective, they can see what that looks like. And so you can also do yes or no questions. You can do multiple choice A, B, C, D. If this would be tied to like if you had a quiz or something on a slide that students are viewing. So that's one way you can assess students over the course of your conference. You can also upload a presentation by attaching files. So I've already made a presentation in Google Slides. You cannot transfer Google Slides. It has to be a PowerPoint slide, but that's an easy fix. So if I already have it in Google Slides, what I do is I go to File, download Microsoft PowerPoint, and then I toggle back to my conference. I click Browse for Files, I look under my downloads, and you can see that my presentation is there. And then once I upload it, it usually takes just a few seconds, and then it should be blasted out to all students in my conference. And you can do this ahead of time before students log in if you want them to have access to it right away. So you can see now that my slideshow has appeared within the conference. Now I'm toggling over to what the student view looks like. Sometimes this is kind of tricky and you may have to have students do this. They may need to refresh and then rejoin the conference to view an updated edition. So if they joined the conference before the slides were added, they may need to refresh their page. So that's why it's a good idea to have the slides already pre-slugged ahead of time. And you can see that me as the presenter, I'm the one who directs what slide we're on. So if I change slides, it should change with them as the student. They cannot navigate the slides independently. And so I kind of go through it at the pace that I want them to go through. You can also mark up the presentation by under this little hand icon here. You can choose tools. You can add additional text. You can create lines, different shapes. But I really like the pencil feature. So like, hey guys, make sure you really get this written down in your notes today. Or maybe I want them to, here's some key information here, write down this, this, and this. And that's a good way to help guide students and annotate as you go. And all right, now sometimes we may not want to upload a presentation, but rather we just want to share our screen. And so I'm going to minimize my presentation. So when I did that, it gets stored in this little icon here, so I can always re-upload that presentation that I've already pulled up, but that's how I just kind of hide it for now. But let's say I want to share my screen, very much like Zoom. There's this icon here. I can click Share My Screen. I can choose a specific application window. So for example, I have a Notes application open. I have my Google Chrome. I have Zoom, reminders, my settings. So I'm going to go ahead and just share my Chrome, but you can also choose specific tabs within Chrome. So let's say I wanted to do that Google Slides, or I wanted to do a YouTube video. I can share my screen, and then when I press play, students should be able to view the video or whatever I'm sharing along with me. The last thing I want to show you guys is how to use shared notes. Shared notes is a really cool feature. This might be something you create ahead of time, or maybe have students work together to create their shared notes, but you could copy and paste an outline for the notes for students. I know a common accommodation for a lot of our students on IEPs or 504s is to have copies of teachers' notes. So why not make it available to all of your students via Canvas conferences? So you can type directly in here, or you can copy and paste something you make on a Google Doc ahead of time. You can create bolded headings, italics, underlines, just like you would in any Google Doc. So that's something that all students should be able to access when you provide those for your kids. There's also the chat room here. So you can see that when I type in there, students are also able to see and respond in the chat. Okay, and that's about it for a Canvas Conferences introduction. Good luck, and let me know if you need any support. I can Zoom with you anytime. I'll have office hours starting next week from 9 a.m. to 9:30, and then again from 1 to 1:30 every day. And I'll share that Zoom link where you can access had a conference with me anytime. So let me know what questions you have. Thanks for watching.